Day 6 of the LA protests, and the streets are still heating up. Let's catch you up fast and fair on what's happening, who's behind it, and why it matters. All began when ICE raids swept through LA, arresting hundreds. That prompted an 8 p.m., 6 a.m. curfew, widespread protests in Paramount, Compton, and downtown, with a mix of peaceful marches and property damage. Then things escalated. Trump federalized the California National Guard, Title 10 style, deploying 4,000 troops and 700 Marines to protect federal property and assist with detentions. These are federal troops, not state-controlled. Big federal play that hasn't been seen in decades. Supporters argue that this goods some key points are: Major General Sherman says troops can detain violent agitators until police arrive. Trump called protesters paid troublemakers and warned of insurrection. If local leaders can't control theft, arson, and violence, federal help is justified. Enter Gov. Gavin Newsom, not just upset, but outraged. He filed a lawsuit calling the deployment a brazen abuse of power and purposefully inflammatory. He slammed the move as unconstitutional and un-American, saying Trump is pulling a military dragnet without local input. In a primetime message, Newsom warned, "Democracy is under assault. Checks and balances are crumbling. This is a red line. Wake up." He even dared Trump to arrest him. Yes, really, he challenged federal authority head-on. In this context is militarizing civilian life. Even peaceful protesters now feel intimidated. Civil liberties activists are warning, once you deploy the military for policing, you start down a slippery slope. So far, protests have stayed mostly peaceful. Yes, there have been arrests, some looting, and even journalists injured by conflicts in the street, but no major riots. Here's the big picture. This is federal authority versus local control, flipped into a real-life showdown. It's one of the biggest domestic military deployments in recent memory, and it raises the question, when law and order clash with civil liberties, where do we draw the line? Look, nobody wants tanks rolling down Wilshire, but if local leaders can't handle public safety, maybe they should be held accountable. Yet, using federal soldiers within our own cities, that's a serious move. Once you cross that line, how do you go back? That's it for today's Maddie Rant. Down below, sound off with your thoughts. Was this federal intervention necessary or too much? Hit follow if you believe checks, balances, and common sense must prevail, no matter who's in charge.